Hey everyone, welcome to another Terry Talk. The big R word is getting bigger every day. Recession, and everywhere you look now, everybody's talking about. It seems pretty much inevitable. Sometimes you wonder if that might become a self-fulfilling prophecy, but we've been saying that here for a bit now that we're headed that way. Nanos, if you know that group out of Toronto, just came out with something on Friday. It's that consumer confidence in Canada has hit a 28-month low, largely in negative views on the future strength of the Canadian economy and the future value of real estate. So for 4-week declines have also registered on job security tracking. So people are starting to feel this is starting to take hold. Interest rates are climbing, inflation seems stubbornly high, and of course our economy will start to contract. Lots of noise in the world markets, of course. COVID remains a thorn in our sides. It's a little messy out there right now, isn't it? So the question is, how do you prepare and survive for a recession in individuals, organizations? Well, organizations, people too. Protect your cash position. Go back to profit equals revenue minus cost, and increase or stabilize your revenue, decrease your cost. This is where it gets interesting. What's your biggest cost? Oftentimes, your biggest cost, of course, are people. So in most recessions, what you start to see is organizations start to reduce their workforces and start to cut people. Not so fast, though, this time around. 2 reasons for that. Number one, I think this recession is going to be unusual in the sense that we still have a labor shortage, and a recession is not going to change that, not going to magically eliminate that. When you look at the demographics of the 15 to 25-year-olds that make up the next group coming through our workforces, that's even smaller than the current group. It's not good. This is something we should all be really kind of panicked about. Well, maybe panic's a bit of a stretch, but deeply, deeply concerned about it. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Secondly, when you cut people, remember, people have long memories. This is going to impact your employer brand if not done properly. So many people out there, and some of you have seen me talk on this before, we talk about people being our most important assets, but people are not assets. You can't liquidate them. You can liquidate equipment and computers and buildings. If you get cash strapped, liquidate them, you can become cash positive. We need to be thinking people are not our most important assets, but rather people are our most important investors. They give us our skills, experience, and knowledge in exchange for pay, and a whole lot of other things like mastery, autonomy, and purpose. We've talked about this before on this very channel. In a time of financial uncertainty, you're probably going to be cozying up to your investors, not sending them down the Swati River. When we think about our employees as investors, we ought to be thinking the same way. At ARIA, of course, we believe there's a new way of thinking about work is needed. That's why we got Desuckify Work. Let's focus on value, not expense. Get employees involved in helping them to help you determine that value. Don't leave it to the managers and leaders to figure that out. Have that conversation. Don't hem yourself in either with fixed costs. But like investors, the value goes up and down as the market ebbs and flows. The same should hold true for your employees. Introduce concepts like variable pay. Don't get caught in the supply and demand chain right now where you overprice yourself, or employees become overpriced in the market, or they become too expensive for you. And of course, the other thing we're always looking for is what are other creative ways to compensate for value generation inside your organization. Again, this recession that's coming, it's going to be unlike any other we've seen, not in terms of impact or length, but in terms of people. Old solutions, they're not going to work here. So at ARIA, we're laser focused on solutions to address this coming recession and the difference that's going to be coming with this one. For example, we're changing our leadership development offerings to get managers and leaders more focused on empowering employees. We're building out programs to help leaders lead in challenging times. Lots of different ideas that are coming over the next couple of months so that when the recession does take hold, we're ready to support you and your organizations. We'd love to hear from you, though. What are some of the new innovative ideas that you're coming up with to help navigate through what looks like a coming recession? Remember, Let's keep the focus on people. Let's not make them expendable. Love to hear from you. Throw your comments in the boxes below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.